For so many people, the idea of buying your first stock feels complicated, maybe even a little scary. But what if I told you that one single step could be the most powerful thing you ever do for your financial future? Well, in the next few minutes, we're going to pull back the curtain on the whole process, step by step, so you can get in the game.
So let's just start with the number, a huge one, $3.2 trillion. That's the estimated amount of wealth that just evaporates every single decade. Why? Because people keep their money out of the stock market, just sitting on the sidelines in savings accounts, earning basically nothing. It's a mind-boggling cost for just doing nothing.
Which, of course, brings up a really interesting question. We're all taught to be safe with our money, right? To avoid risk at all costs. But what if that safe option, what if doing nothing at all, is actually the riskiest financial move you can make? Let's dig into that. We're going to call this the $3.2 trillion problem. And look, this isn't a problem because people lack ambition. It's really a problem of access and information. And it's a problem we're going to solve right now. The number that really jumps out at me on this slide isn't the 42%. It's the reason why. It's not, I don't have enough money. The number one reason people stay out is simply, I don't know how. And that one simple phrase, I don't know how, translates into a potential lifetime opportunity cost of over $1 million per household. So before we even dream of clicking that buy button, we have to make a really critical mental shift. The biggest mistake most beginners make is treating the stock market like it's some kind of giant casino. The real key to success is to stop thinking like a gambler and to start thinking like an owner. Okay, so this is the absolute core of it all. A stock is not a lottery ticket. It's not just a number flickering on a screen. It's a real, actual piece of a business. You are buying a tiny slice of that company's buildings, its products, its profits, and its entire future.
Think about it like this. When you buy just one single share of Apple, you're not just buying a ticker symbol. You become a part owner in a global empire that pulls in over $380 billion a year in sales. You own a piece of everything they do. That's a huge shift in perspective.
And really, it all comes down to this choice and how you see things. The speculator, they see a lottery ticket. They're making short-term bets. The owner, though, the owner sees their slice of the business. They're entering into a long-term partnership. Getting into that owner's view, that is the foundation for every single good investment decision you will ever make.
All right, with that owner's mindset locked in, let's get into the nuts and bolts. See, in the old days, investing was expensive. It was complicated. But today, the tools we have are just ridiculously easy, accessible, and a lot of times completely free to use.
Okay, first things first, you need to pick a broker. That's just the fancy word for the company that gives you access to the stock market. And honestly, for most people starting out, you really can't go wrong with big established names like Fidelity, Schwab, or Vanguard. They're built for long-term investors just like you. So this brings you to probably the first big question you're going to ask yourself. Do I try to be the next superstar stock picker and find that one winning company? Or is there a different way? Well, the data on this is incredibly clear. Just look at this chart. Over a 15-year stretch, almost 90% of professional fund managers, we're talking people whose full-time job is to pick stocks, they failed to do better than just the plain old market average. So, if the pros can't reliably beat the market, what do you think the smartest move is for someone just starting out? You guessed it, the smartest move is to just buy the whole market. And you do that with something called an index fund. An S&P 500 index fund, which might have a ticker symbol like VOO, is basically a single stock that owns a tiny piece of 500 of the biggest companies in America. With one click, you're diversified. You're not betting on one company, you're betting on the entire American economy. It is the statistically superior choice. And actually making the purchase? It's this easy. 1. You search for the ticker symbol. 2. You choose your order type. Now, pro tip, I really recommend using a limit order. All that means is you set the exact price you're willing to pay, so there are no surprises. 3. You punch in the dollar amount you want to invest. And 4. You review and confirm. That's it. You're done. In less than 60 seconds, you are officially an owner. But here's the secret. Buying is the easy part. The real work, the real challenge, starts the moment after you buy. See, long-term success has less to do with what you buy and everything to do with how you behave. It's all about managing your most important asset, your emotions. And you are going to feel these things, I promise. That itch to check the price a dozen times a day, that knot in your stomach when the market is down.
That's because of something called loss aversion. Our brains are hardwired to feel the pain of a loss twice as much as the joy of a gain. Just knowing these traps exist is the first step to avoiding that classic destructive mistake, buying high when you're excited and selling low when you're scared.
And this is where that timeless advice from Warren Buffett comes in. The whole game is about training yourself to see a market dip not as a disaster, but as a potential sale. When everyone else is panicking and selling, that's often the best time to be a buyer.
And why is all of this so incredibly important? Because that first purchase you make isn't just a one-and-done deal. No, it's the moment you fire up the most powerful wealth-building force on the planet, your compounding engine. Just look at the magic of time. A single $1,000 investment made when you're 25 can grow to over $45,000 by the time you retire just by getting average market returns. See how the growth starts to hockey stick in those later years? That's compounding. That's your money making money, and then that money making even more money.
So what happens when you take that one-time purchase and you turn it into a lifelong habit? Well, you get a number that looks something like this. Over $3 million, a number that can absolutely change your life.
And look, that number isn't from some secret stock-picking formula or by taking on some massive risk. It's the potential result of one simple, almost boring habit. Investing just $500 a month from age 25 to 65 and just letting the market do its thing. It's all about consistency, not about being a genius.
All of the old barriers that stopped our parents' generation, the high fees, the confusing systems, the lack of information, all of that is gone. The tools are free, the access is instant, and now the knowledge is yours.
Albert Einstein supposedly called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. It's this incredible force that can work for you 24/7 for the rest of your life. So the only question left to ask is, when are you going to flip the switch?